YouTube.
Barrio.
Yeah, BARRIO.
ABA.
No, BARRIO.
Okay, just Barrio. No.
Yeah, but and then Yusef. You know, you really easy to find because nobody else is named Yusef. Yeah, it's like no one else comes up but you. That's dope.
When I search up my name, it's just Yusef Latif. Yusef Latif.
Yeah, you see it? We'll be able to see it on the screen?
Which one we can see? All right, coolest. Oh, look at Chico! Yay! Mr. Brown.
In the world of internet radio, anything and everything can happen.
Which is great, though, right? It's just the way it is right now. Good.
I did all that typing.
Right.
It's
And it
all
said,
good.
nope.
It's hello.
The internet gods are not with us tonight.
No, they're not. Yeah.
Oh, that's
There he is.
There we go.
You want the music video?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let's do that.
There we go. Do this.
Probably is the other tab that's open too.
Okay.
Yeah. That's something to do. About to synchronize this as well as possible in 3.
Thank you, Rashid.
Adios, boy, you can come to my body, yo. All of my niggas are criminal. Hang around Ziddy and Fabio. Shotty, yeah. Shotty said Diddy, she lie to yo. Face, running yo. Crib, gun in yo. Face, gun on my waist. I keep a drum in my body, yo. I get shit done in my body, yo. Boy, you my son in my body, yo. Shawty be lurking religiously. Shit must know I'm the one in my body, yo. Shit, I'm hot as the sun in my body, yo. Bitch, I'm flying them young in my body, yo. Breathe, shawty, yeah. Fiend, blow out your back, sweat out your weave, pull out your tracks, get on your knees. I know what you need. Fuck with a G, sheesh, breathe, shawty, yeah. Fiend, blow out your back, sweat out your weave, pull out your track, get on your knees. I know what you need. Fuck with a G. This shit is spiritual, really. It's more than a physical, baby. This shit is biblical, baby. I'm far from your typical, baby. Done turn off the lights. I'm digging the visual, baby. I love when I'm hitting you, baby. But you took it literal, baby. Oops, damn. I know that it's difficult, baby. You reach your pinnacle, baby. Now you just clinical, baby. Now you just pitiful. You an invisible, baby. I was all in your genitals, baby. Now you all on my digitals, baby. Damn. My niggas slangin', it's obvious. My niggas bangin', it's obvious. I'm with the gang and it's obvious. Homie, you're lame and it's obvious. I do this shit for the love of it. You niggas be craving the audience. Niggas be hating, it's obvious. I'm chill, but you killing my tolerance. Tell my nigga to turn up the audio. It get shady at night in my body, yo. We get faded at night in my body, yo. We can play this all night in my body, yo. My little baby gon' run it like audio. I be giving a pipe like I'm Mario. My little shawty, you done like Rosario. Maybe one of a kind of Diario. If you down, we can change the scenario of the scenery. My little Genevieve. Yeah, I'm vegan, but I'm in the creamery. Shawty, I'm feeling the energy.
I like that.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that piece, Yusef, if you don't mind.
Well.
But why you gotta pull out her tracks though?
Hey, man.
I just pull them on out. Just
You know.
I'm just being dramatic.
That song.
Beautiful.
I started on the video for it this year, but it's actually been done for like a year. And I don't know. Usually when I go into into any creative endeavor, be it producing or recording music, I usually am like over analytical. Everything is chess. Oh, this frequency has to be here. This has to go here. This has to go here. Whereas that, I just went in. I didn't have anything, and it just came out. So it was a little bit more natural.
How did that feel for you as an artist?
Felt great. It was refreshing. It's like since then I've pretty much been, taking that same approach to all of, anything creative that I do.
Your new pieces.
Yeah, because that's just the way I'm wired. Everything is 1 + 1 + 2, and it's like, no, let me just slow down. And music shouldn't feel like math. So that's how that came about. And I actually, it looks cinematic because my original idea behind it was I was packaging it as a short film with another video.
Oh, okay.
So I shot it all together as a short film, towards this track and a different track that I did. But I'm like, man, I mean, for creative people, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's dope. But for the average person, I hate to put all this creative energy into a short film and they watch like a minute of that shit and turn it off. So that's why I just broke it in two, to where that's like the first piece, and then the second piece is already done. It's just whenever I feel like, letting it go.
Right. How do you know when it's time?
I don't know.
It just kind of comes to you.
It's just like, I want to release something, It's just pretty much that. But I got to get out of that habit too. That's a bad habit of mine too, to where a lot of times I'm just solely motivated by just I like music. Right. To where I release it if I feel like releasing it, or I might not, and it's just like, it's not doing any good on my hard drive. So, I got rid of it.
You got rid of it.
Meaning I just let it out.
Oh, okay. I was like, tell me you got rid of it. Got rid of it. Like, what do you mean? You're scaring me on that one.
Just released it.
Yes. I want to talk about that short film piece of it. Like, what made you go in that direction? Particularly now that we have Chico in the house tonight.
Well, the other half of the short film is for a track I did called Serengeti, and it's much darker than that. To where like my favorite artist is Gil Scott-Heron, favorite artist of all time.
Okay.
And the reason I fell in love with Gil Scott's his art was because he would just tell it like it is, to whereas it'd be ugly at times, it'll be disgusting, it'll be revolting, but it's exactly what it is. And a lot of his work just mirrored what he saw, when he stepped off the porch. I was probably like 15 or 16, just searching the web, and I ran into a song of his called "Home Is Where the Hatred Is," and the opening line is like, "A junkie walking through the twilight, I'm on my way home." And I was like 15 or 16, and I'm like, damn, I've seen that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen that. And it was just so raw. It wasn't doctored up. It wasn't, there wasn't no makeup on it. It was exactly what it was. So that's pretty much with the Serengeti track. That's pretty much what inspired that, because even the short film, like, when you think of anything hood related, there's always that like Friday movies and stuff. They make it appealing, they make it seem cool. You see the camaraderie of gangs and whatnot, everybody wearing this, everybody wearing that, but that's only a surface level, to where there's a lot more that comes with that. And that's pretty much what the Serengeti piece touched on, to whereas that Barrio track, it was more lighthearted. It was more, homies kicking it, it's cool. Whereas that's very dark. It's the realities of, that are attached to it. Because oftentimes you hear, motherfuckers on the track, banging and whoop-de-whoop, but they don't never tell you what comes with it. So it's like, okay, cool. If this is your truth and you're gonna say it, tell the whole truth. Right. If you give a sliver, it's gonna mislead impressionable minds, young minds, and so yeah, that's why I package it together like that, because in another parallel, I felt like that it mirrored me. To where it's, oh yeah, Yusef, oh cool dude, blah, blah, but there's also that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's pretty much what that was about. You know.
Thank you so much for that, Yusef. I appreciate that. Chico, where does your mind go when you hear this work, and what are you thinking about, if you don't mind?
Well, I want him to stay focused, keep his dream alive. If, if you want to do a short film, you should do it. Don't let nobody say that you can't do it.
I'm gonna release it together later, all together.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take the episode approach, episode 1, episode 2, and then just come together with it totally packaged together.
But I hear what you're saying, like the glorification of like gangs and drugs and stuff like that. And for me, it's always like that. People watching a film every day. That's about my whole life story, me and Freeway. When you talk about Snowfall, that really happened to us. That's our real life true story. So when I never watched it, Rick never watched it. But when if you know my story, if you hit it, it's gonna tell you about the CIA. It's gonna tell you how we got busted, how the president was involved in giving us drugs, and they created a show about this. At one time I was suing it, but I got other inspiration in my life not to do stuff like that. But I know people who watch it, so my movie is going to talk about that. But it's not going to be about me going to prison and getting out or getting killed in the street. It's going to be after I came home and became successful in the movie business. So the whole narrative to the story is going to change. It's going to show all about the CIA. That happened. It happened to me and Rick. But what about after I came home? What direction did I do to make my whole life change? Because every story we talk about drugs and the ending of it, you're going to prison and you're dead. So that can't be my ending.
Okay, no way, no.
So my story, the whole narrative is going to change, and I'm going to show people like, this is what really happened. This is how the Contras, the CIA, because you can pull it up and you can see me arguing with them like in 90, in 92, and 93. I'm arguing with the head of the CIA. So when they create this story and they talk about Gary Webb, when Gary, on the story, he really got killed. I talked to him 2 days before it happened. So the stories they make up is my true life story. So when I be hearing people talk about eating, when you talk about, I got shot in 1976. So when you talk about Crips and Pyrus, I've been around, I'm the second generation of that shit. My best friend died in my arm in 1980 at Centennial High School. So when you talk about the gang violence and stuff, and then you talk about the drugs, I was a part of it, I really was a part of it. So when people say it, like, you're just talking about it, this shit is really happening.
I know.
But, for me, like people say, how did I get into the movie business? How did this happen? Shit was just lying there for me. I knew this was going to happen. Even when I was in prison, I used to tell people when I get out, I'm going to make movies, I'm going to do this. But, it was little steps. I took steps. Like, you've been to my studio, and when you talk about the music stuff, like, I really, back in the 80s, I was in the music stuff, and I had a chance to do whatever. But I was in it the wrong reason. I took drug money and put it in there. But now I have a big studio. I have, over 15,000 square foot studio, production, all kind of stuff. But I didn't want to do music.
You didn't?
No, like Michelle over there put me back in the music stuff.
That's
to
good.
do my own soundtrack. So now my studio, since you've been there, is like fully fledged studio. Like, we had Wale up there, we had, what's his name up there, Warren G, Snoop, all of them now, that's a difference. So, but my focus on movie, they focus is on, doing all the soundtracks for the movies I do.
That's
like
beautiful.
It's way different from 2 years ago.
Yes.
We even doing this. We got a podcast we put together, made another room into this, like to have shows, like just do something like this. I like try to do different things, and just for me, like if I do something with Netflix, I can put this on there.
Right.
I already have everything in house.
Right.
Like the movie that we're doing, the movie that I'm doing right now, like for me, all the movies that I'm focused on is like more like true political stories. Like this story, Gitmo. I know you asked me about Gitmo. It's about Guantanamo Bay. It's about what we did to them prisoners that we went and gotten from Afghanistan. Some of them, 80% of them, didn't have nothing to do with that. And one of the stories is a true story. Like this guy was tortured for 14 years by us, but nobody tell that story. We know that story is true, that it could happen. And so he get tortured for 14 years. I mean, really tortured. People got convicted for this stuff. And the soldier that I'm playing in is the only one who helped him.
Okay.
So the story is like gonna be powerful. Like, man, this is. It's not just about you know, we think it's one thing, like, okay, they bombed us and we captured these dudes in Afghanistan, but some of them was at home with their kids.
Right.
And they brought them to Cuba, Guantanamo Bay. And some of them still in there. It's like 180 of them.
Wow.
It was more than 800 of them that was supposed to be involved in 9/11.
That's crazy.
But majority, 85% of them didn't do nothing.
Wow.
So that's what this story is about. You know, it's probably like, wow, why would you talk about that? I'm talking about the truth. Like,
Right.
when I talk about the CIA and the president and Oliver North gave me drugs, that's facts.
That
Not
is
Snowfall, that's a fake.
Yes, it is.
I'm telling you something that I can prove that it happened.
Yes, we have
That's-
footage. I've seen some of the
Yeah, it's, you know,
some footage.
same thing with this story. This story is going to be powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, powerful. And then after this, we got a line of movies. I got a board in my office. There's movies
That's
that
so
we
awesome.
created. You know,
Yes.
that's what we do. But so just because you think that you from Compton or you whatever, don't let that stop you from doing whatever.
Right.
I'm a convicted felon. I did everything in the world. But now I'm making movies and I'm shaking the same, you know. And then I'm bringing us in too, because it's not enough for us, black
Right.
people. And I say us,
Understand.
black people. So Cinema Leader Diversity, that's the way I brought us in.
Yes.
It was just me for 15, 16 years. It's just Chico, one black dude. Now with the diversity, I have, you know, created black writers, you know, I want black directors, I want
Yeah.
black truck drivers, everything that has to do with this film business. We gotta get in. some
Yes,
way.
sir. Yes,
So it's
sir.
it's not just about me. The dudes that's on the set right now, my film, all from Compton.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Every last one of them. They was at work today at 6 in the morning. They don't get off until 6. They working. They building set. But
Yes.
nobody else would give us a chance.
Right.
They don't know the set building $1,500 a day.
Right. Yes,
You know,
sir.
that's what I'm training them to do. Like, man, you could be behind the scenes, $1,500 a day to build
Yes.
sets. That's what they get.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and the ones who want to be in the movie, yeah, I'm put you in the movie too. It's not just about me. It's about me uplifting my people from Compton, black people, black and brown. That's the only way we can do. We got to help ourselves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Nobody else
absolutely
gonna help
correct.
us.
You're right, Chico.
We can talk that shit, like all that, but if you think about it, nobody just giving you nothing. You got to come in and feel good about yourself and make it happen.
It makes me think of really just Compton rising. And not literally just us being from Compton. I know that's cliche to a degree, but it is legitimate because when we think about it, oftentimes our city gets a very unfair rap. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the social critical reception of the word Compton. You know, it can go this way, oh my God, the city of Compton, or oh my God, yeah, that's my city. But I know what my legacy is strong. It's my city. It's a strong city. Good things do come from Compton. It's not all negative. I know my show here at the Poetry of Justice show, one of the biggest dreams about this show is to show that who we are and what we can do, you know what I mean, from our city. So it just always just fills my heart, and to hear everything
We
that
need
you
more
say,
shows
Chico.
Like this, more shows
You
like
know?
this. If nobody else, if you don't tell it, who's gonna tell it?
Who's gonna tell our stories?
Nobody gonna tell our story. So that's what I'm focused on. My film company is telling our stories, and it can't be all about laughing all the time. They gotta hurt somebody.
Yeah.
There gotta be some real true story into it. This really happened. It really affected me in a way. Cause I'm gonna come out with a Crippin' Blood, but it's gonna be so powerful. Where as you say, I can't never do this. Cause I use this perfect example of myself, and I say it's called One Bullet. When I said my friend got killed in 1980 and he died in my arm, that one bullet. I think I was 15. He was 15 or 14, 15. But that one bullet destroyed his whole generation of his family.
I know you talk about that.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, so when he got killed, that's it. But I'm over here, I'm living, and I have 5 kids, 8 grandkids.
Beautiful.
He would have had the same.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So every time we shoot one person, we destroy a generation. So it's never about the one, oh, he only one person got killed.
Yeah.
No, you didn't kill the generation. That one
Yes.
bullet that killed. If I multiply that by 20 years or 30 years of gang banging in Compton, thousands. So when you didn't think you just shot that one person at 15 years old, the person who shot him got a life sentence, so he can't have no kid.
Nice.
Now he's dead, he can't have no kid. So just add that up. My 8 grandkids just have 2 kids each. That's 16.
That's 16 more.
So
Yes,
we
sir.
destroy a generation, and that's the what affects me most, because you don't know when you shoot one person. Like, it's not a. You have to think about why in the last 40 years or 30 years our population rate stay the same, because we killed each other.
Yeah.
It stays at 30 million. It'll never go up. But everybody else is going up. We continue to kill people at a rate that don't even catch up by having kids.
Right.
So just think, like, there's so many young kids who died and didn't have a chance to have kids.
They didn't
And it's
even
just called one bullet. Destroyed.
I know, Yusef, look at that face.
Oh,
I know, right?
Listen.
It's really deep.
But look, we got us, I think each one of us just we make a difference, one show at a time, just bringing awareness. I don't know, guys, I'm at a loss right now. What do you think, Lori G?
No, I so agree, and I've been taking some notes over here, and I think it all ties in, and I'd like for the gentleman to weigh in on this. And hearing you speak, you're talking about really your social obligation versus sales profitability and money, right? And so as an artist, oftentimes we have to decide where are we going to be. And so I'm interested in knowing how did you come to being much more socially conscious opposed to monetarily conscious?
That's a great question, actually. Well, as the name suggests, Yusef, I grew up Muslim. I'm still Muslim. My father is Reuben Muhammad, from the Nation of Islam. So I grew up in Compton Mosque, number 54. Reuben was my uncle, but he raised me, as a son. So, Reuben is God's pop, and unfortunately my parents, transitioned, but he was more than enough of a father. So I didn't feel the difference. I didn't feel like, oh, it's Uncle Reuben. He wouldn't even let me call him that. But he we didn't have much growing up. I mean, he was a single father, 5 boys, but he always took the time to speak to us. Not necessarily as, hey, get this done, but really try to, speak to us and leave us with something. And it was just a strong black, role model, strong black man in the house. And then same with my uncles. I had a lot of older brothers, to where anytime, I got out of line and stuff, with love, they'd correct me. And he built my confidence, and he always made me very aware. As a child, he didn't sit me in front of Teletubbies and stuff. Like, I'm watching videos of Malcolm. I'm listening, reading text on Marcus Garvey. This was this kind of man, to where on my breaks, on our summer breaks and stuff, he would wake us up 4 or 5 in the morning, to pray and whatnot, wash up, line us up from shortest to tallest, and jog us down Mona Boulevard to Mona Park. And we just exercise for hours and then jog us back. We get home, he'll probably have us swim, and by that time it'd be about 9 a.m. and he would sit us down in the living room, and he had a whiteboard on the wall, and he'd teach whatever the subject was, math, history, science, he'd teach. And after that, it'd be about 12 o'clock, then go on with your day. Do what you want to do. Go play. But that was just always instilled in me. Don't wake up on the game and I'd wake up on the game, read Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad. I'd wake up on the game, read the
Yes.
Wake up and read the autobiography of Malcolm X. He was that kind of man. So after a while, I'm thinking it's normal. I'm thinking everybody has that in the house. But as I grew a little older, I noticed that was rare. And just having that discipline, having that love, that correction around it did me good. To where now as an adult, I can realize how much of a gentle and loving father he was.
Yes.
But he was a single father with 5 black boys in Compton and Watts. So he's authoritarian. He has to be.
Yes, absolutely.
He has to be.
Absolutely.
And all of us alive.
Right.
All of us doing well, getting married, having children. So he did something right.
Did a lot right.
He did a lot
Absolutely.
right.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing, Yusef.
Absolutely. What about you, Chico?
Yes.
Social obligation over monetary gain.
Oh, for me, that's easy because I know I dedicated my whole since I came home. It was never been about the money. I know that'll come later, just if I put in the work. And you know, I worked at a place called Home for 5 years. It was just about me helping kids. And then I left a place called Home and I started my own nonprofit, Reach Back LA, without a dime. Like, you know, like I started this and like I know how to raise money. You know, I have celebrity friends, and that's how I started. Like calling them, like, you know, I need help. I need y'all to do this. And from you know, and Mark Wahlberg bought me a youth center in on 72nd, 70th and Western. I got another one in Watts. You know, it was always me motivating somebody to help me, to help these kids. It wasn't even about me. It wasn't even about the money part, because I know once I started these programs and make kids successful, that I will be okay. And the same thing when I got into the movie business. I never even liked the movie business. I didn't want to do it. Penny Marshall kept forcing me like, no, you should do it, because, you know, I know you, and it had been times, I ain't going to sit up here and just say I came home and did the right thing. No, I came home and I did some bad shit. Yeah. But it was people like her and people like Mark and my mother and them that prayed for me to do the right thing. You know, I didn't come home like, okay, I came home with the idea like, oh, I'm gonna come back to the streets and make a lot of money. Like before I left, that was when I came home. That's exactly what I said. I went to the place, go home, work with the kids, but in the back of my mind, I still was in the streets. I was taking trips. I was doing stuff, but it took a lot of prayers. The people prayed for me. My mother prayed for me every day. I know that's to be a fact. You know, to make sure that I do the right things and it helped. And, you know. And my responsibility to my kids, I just wanted to make sure that they never did nothing like that. That they never gang banged, that they would never say cuz or blood, and ever. So that was my responsibility. Because I don't know what it is not to have my mother and father. My parents were married for 60 years. I lived with my parents, you know. I never knew what it was to have a single parent, none of that. My parents was always in the same home. But for me and my kids, I made sure that they never got in trouble, that they didn't want it. You know, and my sons, you know, I got 2 boys, to make sure that they wouldn't get in the street and sell drugs. Because I did it. And I knew the end results. Or they wouldn't gangbang, because I know the end results of, you know, getting shot or getting shot at. I've been shot at, everything. And then I'd have been shot at the same day and go on the same street I just got shot at. That's how naive we was to this. Getting killed, because it wasn't nothing like this is what we do, especially in the 80s. Like this
for sure.
This is the life we live. He missed, but sometimes he didn't miss. So my responsibility to my social stuff is like, as long as I put all my energy in the right position, it all comes back. Because that's how my life been all the time. Like my whole thing was I wasn't born and raised to be a drug dealer. That just happened.
Right. You know, I hear in your stories a thread of confidence about feeling good about yourself. And I'm interested in your thoughts in this world of social media, right, where we care how many likes we get. We're always being judged, right? How do you, or what advice would you give to young black men, or young men in general? Where do they find that confidence? Where do they find that sense of belonging when the world wants to only pull them down, particularly men of color?
Where to find that sense of belonging? Well, for me, how I never felt the need to, you know, I had brothers. You know, I had brothers, I had uncles. So I say, you know, attach yourself with men you want to be like. You know, you know, I wanted to be, you know, someone who was respected, not necessarily because, you know, from fear, but oh no, that's a decent man. You know, that's a stand-up man. Right. So you know, I tried rubbing shoulders with those kind of people. But luckily, in my case, I was lucky enough to have those kind of men around. Not everybody's that fortunate. Right. So, you know, the internet is vast. You can search up anything, just educate yourself. That'll make you confident. Get in the gym. There's things, just work on you. Chisel away at that weakness. Create the person you wanna be. Because I wasn't always just super confident. My father gave me the raw material, but I kind of had to apply it to myself. Growing up, you poor, and all of that. Your friends is coming with the Jordans and stuff. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. I had like 4 years of hand-me-downs. It hit all 4 of my brothers by the time it hit me. So it's just like, for me, I understood that, okay, I'm living in a world that's not necessarily kind or favorable to me, that's really constructed and designed in a way, for me to just shrivel and stuff. So I made it a point to hold my chin higher, hold my chest out higher. To where a lot of times, people look at black men and just, oh, well, they're so macho, all this bravado, is because it's like necessary armor you need just to get through your day.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of times when you get older, especially just the mean mugging and all of that, it doesn't serve you anymore. To where now it's more of a curse, or it's more of a
Absolutely.
For me, when you talk about the negative, we all know negativity sells. So it's always, if you do negative stuff, people will find you. Like the media is gonna find you. When I was selling a lot of drugs and the controversy with the CIA, so much media, like, oh, you want to be on this show? I'd been on every talk show there because I was doing negative stuff. So when I come home, when I'm at a place called Home, so many guys with the college that was under my program are just being successful. No media coverage. So I found that out early, and I got kids that's really doing well. Like the story he just told you, that's true. Like he, I made sure that I took him home every day. So it's a success story that I don't even know about. But there's never been no positive press about Chico doing this. I just did the work.
Right.
And so sometimes, like, people don't want to do work like this because they don't get rewarded. But for me, it's never been about trying to get no rewards. I just continue to, like, do the work. And just not like, let me say this happened about 4 or 5 months ago. You remember Marcus? He was Marcus. So I go to a store in Compton. It was in Compton. So I got, just like I'm dressed now, I got all blue on. So, but I'm like, I don't care if I go into a blood store, a pottery store. So I go into the store, go get some champagne. So 2 dudes walk in with red rags on their face, like, and they said, "What's up?" I'm like, "What's happening?" They're like, "Where you from?" Like, like, what? I'm in my feeling. But when I had the mask on, but when I take the mask off, it's like, oh, Chico. Like, it was Marcus and them, Marcus and them telling me, like, so, man, thank you for all the stuff you did for me. But, if I was anybody else, they probably would have shot him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they was like, thank man, you took it as it was like, and my mindset was like, oh, they about to shoot me. But it was a kid that went to a place called Home who I really tried to get out of the game, man. But when you can't save everybody. He had it all on his face. But he still listened to me that day. He was like, "You calling, man? I'm so happy that you did whatever, But at this particular time, he got it all on his face and tattoos, and I was like shocked. But when he saw me, he was like, "Oh, Chico," like gave me a hug, and I was like, "Damn, that's one of the rare moments. Like, this guy could have been somebody to just shoot me because I had the wrong colors on." So that's the stuff we have to live. It don't matter how old you are either. And, like, youngsters want to get points and stuff for killing an OG and stuff like that. Like, so you have to watch out every day. Being young black guy in the city. It's everywhere you go. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a difference too. Like, I really feel for the younger guys now. When you talk about the internet, we didn't have the internet. It's the internet gangbanging. That's like frustrating to me. Like, you see it, and people are getting killed because they said something on the internet,
right.
Facebook. They said something on Instagram, and that starts a whole other stuff. So that's like newer stuff. Like, that's what they do now. Back then, they just shoot you, but it's different now. So it's just so we gotta educate people. The end results. I think, like, if they really know what's really gonna happen, like, now, you're gonna go to you're getting life. Your life is over with. Instead of like you going to jail, because you eventually gonna get caught.
Yeah.
Somebody can tell.
Basically.
Yeah.
So just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Is it it's like a mathematical certainty, would you say?
Question, like they knew what I was doing before I knew what I was doing. So you know what I'm saying. So everybody, they already know. It's a matter of time, and then when one go, they ain't gonna do nothing but telling the next person. So, so however you want to take it, that's what it is.
I want to share something, Lori, and to the crew, because I want to talk. This is a little bit about legacy, right? And that's where I'm going with this. There's another gentleman, Chico. Just thank you so much for all that you've done for black men, for our community. Thank you, Yusef, for being here, and thank you to your dad for doing such an awesome job.
Shouts out to Pops.
That's right.
I wonder what he's doing.
But I just want to, it's on my spirit because, Chico, everything that you're saying, and sometimes we don't find, there's this Japanese custom called wabi-sabi, and it talks about finding the beauty in the scars. So on September 1st of this year was the birthday of a gentleman who not only was great in me and my sister's life, but in the lives of several individuals in the city of Compton, Chico. I don't know if you ever had a chance to meet him. His name is actually Mr. Brown as well. So it's interesting that you're here, Mr. Chico Brown, but I posted on my page on his birthday in honor of his date of birth. Anyway, this is him, and then Laura, you can probably tell a little bit more backstory on Mr. Anderson Brown. But this is written by a Mr. W. Wilson. Happy belated birthday, Mr. Brown, in all caps. This man, in all caps, was a great inspiration in my life. I used to hang out with gang members from my hood that were a little older. My boys used to pick me up after school. We would go roll dice, pick up girls from the neighboring school, jump in gang fights, etc. If you went to Davis, you know when school let out, Mr. Brown would stand in front of the school and monitor everyone's exit. Mr. Brown saw me get in the car with my boys. The next day, he called me to his office. He said, "Don't let me see you get in the car with those thugs." Well, you know I got into the car in spite of Mr. Brown's request. That next day, Mr. Brown called me to his office. And if you were ever swatted by Mr. Brown, you knew the procedure. Stand up and grab the end of the desk. Mr. Brown would bite his bottom lip his top lip, and give you the business. He would light your ass up if you would even flinch. That was a freebie. After I got the business, he would make you sit down and lecture you on why he gave it to you. I didn't get in the car that day, and I told my boys why. The next day, they flattened Mr. Brown's tires. After Mr. Brown purchased new tires, he summoned me from class and said, "I will be driving you home today. Get in the car." On the way home, Mr. Brown asked me to open his glove compartment and gave him his brass knuckles. When I leaned over to open the glove compartment, he raised the armrest between us, and there was a snub-nosed Saturday night special. Mr. Brown asked, "Do you know who flattened my tires?" And you know I couldn't snitch. So Mr. Brown didn't press the issue, but I was scared as hell. After that, I made a choice not to hang out with my boys that they weren't bad guys, but they just didn't have a Mr. Brown in their life. Every last one of them are dead due to gang violence. Mr. Brown continued taking me home from time to time, and he would tell me all of these stories about his days at Grambling State University. I am a proud Grambling State University graduate to this day because of Mr. Brown. He saved my life. One of my greatest regrets is not staying in touch with my mentor. But when I do visit Compton, I go to Lincoln Memorial to wipe off the headstones of my homeboys and leave flowers there. Like I said before, they weren't bad guys. They just didn't have a Mr. Brown in their life. Mr. Brown, Grambling was all that he said it would be, but it's not nothing like being from the city of Compton. So I just wanted to share that little story. Chico, it made me think of you on so many levels. Even when you told me about it, Lord Rocker, thinking of Mr. Brown, he was, Lord, you might want to just give a little bit of history to our listeners about Mr. Anderson Brown.
Yeah, Anderson Brown was a counselor. He started at Davis Junior High School, and I met Mr. Brown when I started there in the 7th grade. And he was this really big, iconic figure who was the father, as you say, to young boys and girls who really cared about the children in the community and really wanted them to do well, right? And called you out and nurtured you and put money in your pocket if you didn't have any money, and inspired you and helped you stand up to individuals that were bullying you or like our friend here, redirect your behavior if you needed to. And never had any children of his own, but just hundreds and hundreds of young people that went through Davis, and then he left and started working at Centennial Senior High School and continued that legacy within the community. So
I just wanted to share that.
His
Mr.
work sounds a lot like Chico.
I know. I had to share that story because even like with we. Just to give you guys even more history of it, Mr. Brown was very instrumental in our lives, and he's also the godfather to our children. So he was like a father to us. After our father left, he literally was like a father to us. He gave us away at our weddings and was there with us until he left us in 2014 when he transitioned. But he gave so much of himself, and it just again remind me of you, Chico, because when I posted that, it was just came up in the timeline, Mr. Brown's like Papa. And then to have gone back and get this message that's like this long, like for someone to take the time to sit and write about him and what that meant to him, and then to be blessed and have Mr. Chico Brown in the house tonight. And for so many people not to understand what you've done. I know oftentimes when I mention you, when I've mentioned you to people, I'm going to interview Chico. Oh, that's the guy that was in with the drugs, with the Iran Contra, you know what I mean, with the scandal and da-da-da-da-da. Oh, that's the guy that has that mean dog that's going to get you, you know what I mean? But what about, like I said, Chico Brown, the man, the legend, the myth, you know what I mean? There's just so much around it, and I just I'm glad that we are able to sit here in fellowship and talk about it and let people know all of the amazing work that you've done for our community, and again for people like Lord Rocker as well as Yusef. I thank you so much for being here and giving us your time, because you guys have a legacy to fill, you know what I'm saying? You got that torch, and to carry that on to our younger generation of men, because we have to do it for ourselves. And here at this show, I'll do whatever I can to help as many of us as we can, because I just love to do it. So, I don't know, I'm rambling, but having a good time.
And I think what we should spend a couple minutes talking about, how do you find a Mr. Brown, right? And in listening to both of your stories, it was mentoring, right? Even the text you read talked about having a mentor. So what are your thoughts? I'm really interested in yours, Yusef, as a younger person, and yours, Chico, as a person who has some experience behind them. How do you go about finding a mentor if you're a young man or woman who feels like I don't know what my forever after is going to be, and how do I chart that journey?
For the city of Compton, I think we need to establish them programs that we used to have in the 70s. Bring the mentorship back, put them in schools. Because, our kids are getting led by gang members because they don't have the parents and stuff. Single parenting is probably 90% in Compton. It's like deep. And, just think about, like, when we grew up, we had a baseball field to go play at. We don't even have that no more in Compton. All the baseball programs are gone. The basketball programs is gone. We have, so that's like, it's so important, because this is what I know from guys my age. Like, we knew each other when we was 10. So it was hard for us to shoot each other because we knew, we played baseball together. Now these kids are so separated. They live on this side, you live on that side. They never come together to play baseball, basketball, because it's so like, oh, you can't go over there because that neighborhood over there. That's the only way we can bring them kids. We bring them kids back together at a young age, at 8. Now they know they get at 15 years old. They ain't gonna be so easy to shoot them, because you really know this kid.
Right.
So we have to establish that back in our city, the city of Compton. I don't. It's still in other cities and Torrance and stuff like that, but I'm talking about in Compton and Watts and all these programs that we used to have, mentoring programs, and the parents used to help coach the kids and, you know, volunteer his time. We don't have that no more. Parents don't. It's you know, it's a struggle. Two parents got to work, and it's hard for them to leave their job and go coach basketball. Like he told you, I really coached these teams. I want to get paid for that. I coached these teams, took these kids home just to be safe, to stay out the way.
Yes, Chico.
So, you know, we need people like that to give back. If you want to give back, you know, give back for real. Don't just say you giving back and not giving back. You give back, you give your time. If you don't have money to give, just give up your time.
Yes.
That's like most important thing in the world.
Yes, it is, Chico.
Yes, it is.
Because all of us don't have money to give, but you can give some time. You can give a couple hours a day.
Right.
To help this young man. And I tell people all the time, like, if you see a kid, you walking down the street, you see a kid, and he just, like, he don't have nothing, just grab that kid, talk to him, explain to him something, what you did in your life to change your direction. And I think, like, for me, like, me going to prison changed my direction like this. You know, I gotta go do this, but this is no place that I want to go back. Like, you know, so that changed the direction of my life. Like, you know I did wrong. I accept the responsibility of me doing wrong. But now if I do wrong again, that's a whole different situation.
Yes.
So that's what I instill in kids. Like, for whatever you do in life, you got to pay for it.
Yes.
In some kind of way.
Yeah.
Prison or death. So you got to be responsible for your own actions. Your actions causes other reactions.
Yes,
Accountability.
Yusef.
I wholeheartedly agree with my brother, because you know what they say, it takes a village to raise a child. I was one of those children to where everybody, you know, I was at everybody's house. You know, Pops, he worked. You know, he did what he had to do, but he worked a lot. So, you know, even programs, because even in my experience, when I was in school, when I didn't have anything to do after school, that's when I did dumb shit.
Right.
You know, when I didn't have anything to do, that's when I got into trouble and all of that. But when it was after school programs, there was an after school program. I went to Birch.
Oh yeah.
I went to Birch. I lived on the east side, but my grandmother lived on Taper. So I just go there and go to my grandmother's house after. But it's a grandmother, you know. I'm a child. I'm running around. She's in the house, and yeah, there was a program, an after-school program they had, to where they were giving it. It was a band, you know. And the teacher grabbed me and said, "Hey, pick an instrument." I saw the shiny one and I picked it up, and it was trumpet.
Oh my gosh!
And that's when I started doing music. You know, that's when I started falling in love with music, and you know, so just something as simple as that changed the trajectory of my life.
Right.
You know, so yeah, definitely those programs to where, you know, where we can employ that philosophy, you know, that community philosophy. Because children are sneaky.
Hey,
and they're gonna get into something. So if those eyes aren't watching, they gonna.
That's why Dad had you up running to the park and jog and exercise. So you'd be too tired when noon came to do anything.
To do focus.
Yeah,
that's true. You know, guys, our time together is coming to an end quite quickly. That's interesting. So I've had a beautiful time, I tell you, definitely. And I want to reserve some time so that you guys can give us our listeners your handles, so they can follow you and be in contact with what you're doing. So Yusef, if we want to get our hands on this music and listen to more of your work, where can we do that?
You can follow me on Instagram, 808.Yusef, YUSEF.
Okay. And Mr. Brown, you got so much going on.
I know.
Yeah. How can we keep abreast of all the things that's happening on your plate?
I'm on Facebook, Chico Brown Compton, I think. And Instagram is Chico 2031.
Chico 2031.
2031.
Or 3021.
And when do we think we're going to see Gitmo?
I know, right?
Oh, Gitmo. Gitmo gonna be out probably March. check it out.
You know what you didn't tell us? How did you transition into acting?
That's funny because this is happened to be my movie. So all of the people that's involved said, Chico, you should play. This character, I'm the only good character in the whole thing. Everybody else like really tortured these guys.
Oh my God.
My character as the officer is the one trying to help him. You know, I like comfort him. So they just thought it was good. I did some stuff with Mark before, like, you know, but not like this. I'm really in this movie. I really sit down every day from 7 to 7
so cool.
with my uniform, wait for my time, my speed. You know, at first, like because I have paragraphs, and it was hard. Like, then I just like the other day I just knocked it out. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. You know, then, you know, you say you're gonna do it, and then you get them cameras. You know. Like, and then the guys who working on this, they real actors.
They're intense, huh?
They can really do this. They learn their parts. You know, they didn't play all kind of movies, but it's me. Like here I am, like, all right. And my mindset was like, I'm gonna learn this tomorrow. I got the script. I've been having the script for months, but I don't wait. I don't try to study it until the day of or the day before.
Not the day before, Chico.
Oh, my first day was like 45 takes.
I'm weak with you right now. That's a beautiful thing. He said 45 takes. That's a good. That's a long time.
I couldn't remember. I knew it, but I couldn't remember. So I was on there. Cut. Cut. So I was like, I was embarrassed at the same time.
Cool though.
At the same time, I was like, they mad at me? You know,
that pressure.
It was there because they professional, so they go in there, they do their thing, and it's like one couple cuts, but I had like 45 cuts, like, and then the other day I had like 4 cuts. I was like,
good. Yay.
No, they was clapping. They were like, I was like,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Because I was like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up. Because I know they're going to be like, because, you know, in filming, even this for like a minute worth of film, it take hours. Like, you know, so you back and forth like, damn, I don't want to mess up. So I went in there and did it like, knocked it.
You see it now, Lord Rocker. Now he just knocking it out the park.
So I got a few more parts in there. You know, we filming on it's gonna be amazing because once you see it, like this set is in Afghanistan. It's just really Afghanistan, like, in California. But it's
intense, huh?
But it's good. It's, you know.
I'm so glad. I know the photographs are amazing. I'm like, check this out. Look at Chico. It feels good. You know what I mean? To see what we talked about 2 years ago, the dreams and success, and to watch you live it right now is just, it's awesome. And higher power. Thank you, Lord.
I knew that I would be doing films and taking it. It's gonna get higher. It's just gonna keep doing it, get bigger and get bigger every day. Like on my project is about my life. Tiffany Haddish is attached to it. Mark Wahlberg attached to it. Tiffany's gonna play herself because she has a big part of my life as that place go home. So she's in it. Mm-hmm. Mark too. So you know, not only are they producing it with me, they're actually gonna be in the movie.
That's awesome, Chico. Congratulations.
You know, it's just that I got a documentary coming out that I'm doing. Just the whole, you know, life story.
I can't wait. This is gonna be great. We gotta have that premiere.
Absolutely.
You got to give us. Oh, you know we be on the ground on location, guys. You know we do. You know, have you been seeing our last pieces? Who was it? The Mary Jane Girls and the Temptation Review. Who else did we do? Oh, that was a big one. Miss Chalet and Evelyn Champagne King. So we're on the ground, guys. We do come with, so we can get the camera people out there, Chico, and we're on that red carpet.
It's coming.
Yeah, Yusef and I, we out there, Yusef. Shit, you got the exclusive soundtrack. It's on. Look at it. The possibilities are endless. Lord Rock, how you doing tonight? You having a good one, King? Lord Rocker?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for allowing this platform to be available for the, great talent. Thank you, Yusef, for coming through. Chico Brown, my mentor, I salute you, sir.
Yes,
and till next time.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Seriously, though, I've watched him grow, like, from a kid, like, you know what I'm saying? And then when he joined the Nation, I was proud of him, because, you know, I talked to Tony, and I asked him about you, Tony was like, yeah. And I saw when he actually joined the Nation, like, and because you know, you watch somebody and you see what direction he's going in. And I followed him. He didn't know I was following him. And I asked people about you.
He's good, dude. Yeah, he's been a breath of fresh air. I got a blessing. I interviewed him 4 years ago, Chico. The very first time, 4 years ago. And God just does what he does. So I just let the spirit roll. So God bless you, Lord Rocka.
You too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on the Poetry of Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips on YikesRadio.com and AccelerateRadio.net. Catch us here next week. We've got the ladies of the chat in the house. Laura Rocca's got some surprises for us, and we're just going to keep doing what we do. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Chico, thank you. God bless you. I know you look.